Hi Nisrin, thank you for joining me here today for our Women Who Make It Happen series.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Could you introduce yourself and talk through your career a little bit to date?
Sure. So my name is Nisrin Abouelezz. I am Managing Director and Head of Africa Group at Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation, SMBC, based here in London. I lead the coverage activities for the bank across the African continent. My role entails establishing relationships, originating business, structuring solutions for a wide range of clients across the African continent.
Okay, very good. So with your role at SMBC, how has that differed to your earlier career?
So my journey has not exactly been linear. Early on, I was very interested in psychology and journalism. And in fact, I worked for a short period of time in the publishing industry. When my environment changed and I moved to London, I shifted focus towards business. And quite unexpectedly, I came across a job at an American bank. It was not what I had planned, but very quickly I realized that it really aligned with my interests and strengths. What I was drawn to in the financial industry was the analytical ability that it required, the global exposure and the role that finance played in economic development. And that really helped me or motivated me to build a career in that space. Later on, I joined SMBC. That was another step into the unknown for me because I did not have any prior experience covering the African markets. I was, however, very fortunate to work with someone who was deeply passionate about the business, and he was very supportive of my development. And that really motivated me to continue on this journey. The bank gave me the platform to grow, to develop, and while staying true to myself, being someone who's outspoken, values-driven, and I put a lot of energy and passion into what I do. I joined as an associate, and over the past 18 years, my role has evolved into leading a multi-billion-dollar portfolio, very diverse, multi-jurisdictional team, and establishing relationships with clients across various products. So when I look back, it was really a combination of being open to opportunities, having the right support system around me, and also constantly pushing myself to grow.
Okay. You've preempted a question I was going to ask you about some of the key success traits that you would have maybe said have enabled you to get to where you are today. If I can just pick on a few of those points separately. You mentioned firstly being open to opportunity. How did you kind of position yourself to really take on that new challenge of not having been in the African jurisdictional sector before, and how did you deal with that?
It was really my sense of curiosity. One, I wanted to explore what's out there, considering at the time I was developing my interest in business, and knowing that this could be a challenge for me. Plus, the financial industry was not the natural path that women would take. I thought this is an opportunity for me to do something different, to take a challenging role, and to build a career for me, or to carve out a path for me in this space. But I also quickly realized that you really need to put passion and energy into what you have. And you need to constantly learn. So you need to spend time learning, establishing relationships, being visible internally. And I do give credit to my colleague who invested a lot of time and efforts in me early on. We were able to build a very strong partnership at the beginning, and that helped me grow. With that in mind, that also made me want to give back at some point in my career. So really having a sense of curiosity, pushing myself, establishing a good network around me, and the successes that ensued. Made me want to do more, made me want to progress, made me want to take on more challenges.
And how did you ensure that you had that support network? You've just referenced it a couple of times. So was that more proactively, or was that reactive to a mentoring capacity within the workplace?
So it was very much proactive. I love working with people and being coverage as well. It's very important that you have the ability to establish trust-based relationships. So this is one of my values, trust-based relationships.
Sure.
But you cannot sit back and wait for people to come to you. You cannot sit back and wait for information to come to you. So again, the sense of curiosity propelled me to go out there and not only seek information, but also establish relationships with key people across the institution. So this is internal. And I used to say that I have my own board in my head, as in I have key people in every department that I can go to and tap into their knowledge when I needed to. It's very important to be proactive in this space because that will also help with your visibility.
And in this space, do you mean in the sector in which you operate or generally within financial services?
I would say generally in the financial services, but also when you are front office, working for a bank and with responsibilities towards clients, you need to be visible, you need to be proactive, you need to establish relationships with stakeholders internally and externally. I'm very fortunate to work in a very diverse environment as well. When you are exposed to different cultures, different jurisdictions, different languages, different perspectives, that helps shape who you are and it helps you with whatever you do. The financial services industry is known to be a tough industry.
I couldn't agree more.
Or it used to be perhaps for women in the past. It has evolved markedly over the past few years. But then you do need to be proactive in whatever you do, and you need to accept that there will be challenges along the way. And that's why establishing a good network around you is incredibly important. It could be to drive to help you with your aspirations, your ambitions, to build your business, to deal with challenges when they come up. So yes.
And I'll probably come on to a couple of those points actually. You've mentioned about financial services generally. So what shift have you seen? You've been with SMBC for 18 years. So what shift have you seen in the industry sector over the last decade or 2 decades where you've seen a remarkable difference now as opposed to back then?
There have been meaningful shifts in the financial industry across both mentality and capability, or mindset and capability. So from a mentality perspective, there has been a stronger focus on diversity and inclusion. There are far more deliberate efforts to attract and retain women and underrepresented groups. And I have seen that in my job over the past 2 decades. I'll give you an example. When I used to speak at panels or at industry events early on, I used to be the only woman on the panel alongside senior male colleagues.
Okay.
Today, the picture is entirely different. It's very easy to see a far more balanced representation, or even panels made up entirely of women. So there has been that shift in the industry. In terms of ability, today when you recruit, you don't only look for technically capable people, but you also look for people with global perspective, adaptability, ability to deal with the constantly evolving world around us. It's a dynamic, I would say, an evolving environment, but it's moving in the right direction. I wouldn't say that the industry is in a perfect place now, but we have seen some really big strides towards diversity and inclusion.
I'm really glad you mentioned that. I couldn't have said it better myself. It's exactly what we promote and say as well. So I'm glad you have seen that shift though. And I think it's a really interesting point that you've made, particularly more TradFi or that male dominated area where you've been operating as well. And the panels maybe were more male dominated in the past. Are you still finding that in certain areas or sectors, or generally have you found that we have shifted and other companies have put policies in place to enable that diversity to be inherent?
A lot of work has been done towards more a more diverse workplace, but a lot more can be done. I would say I'm seeing positive trends across different sectors, but again, the financial industry has lagged behind other sectors historically. I will give you an example. When we used to recruit years ago, the talent pool used to be, or the CVs that we received were male dominated.
Yeah.
Over the past few years, we have seen a tremendous shift in terms of the pool of talent that we see, and we see more and more women applying to roles in the financial industry. So there is a shift there, but today for you to have a diverse team, it doesn't happen by coincidence. You need to make a deliberate and consistent effort.
And I was going to ask what SMBC does, or what you can do as well to positively affect that change.
Absolutely. So we make a deliberate effort to ensure that we have a balanced portfolio of candidates for every role that we recruit for.
Yeah.
It's not only about, to me, the diversity is not only about gender.
Exactly. Yep.
It covers a much wider base. So we do make a deliberate effort to ensure that we have adequate representation from diverse groups, where we can offer them a fair and real opportunity for the jobs they apply for. So it does take a lot of efforts. And as an institution, we have signed up to the Women in Finance Charter and many other initiatives as well in the financial industry.
Yeah.
And indeed, when you look at at the representation of female in senior roles, you will see that has grown significantly over the past few years as well. So there is a deliberate effort from the management of the bank, from all of us with responsibility to lead teams to grow the business, to ensure that we have diverse teams in place.
Yeah, that's really positive to hear, and clearly the business is doing really well from the DE&I perspective.
Absolutely.
And the measures they've put in place. I've been fortunate to film with another lady from SMBC as well.
Okay.
So, you've already got real examples of yourself in a leadership role as well as others. Talking about leadership, what motivated you to become a leader in the first place?
That's an interesting question. I don't think leadership was ever a title for me. It was about the opportunity to have an impact. So being in a leadership position allows you to do that.
You say it's more of a consequence of being like wanting to make a change and wanting to make impact.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also putting energy and passion into what you do.
Yeah.
Again, as I mentioned earlier, I was fortunate to work with someone early on in my career who supported me, who invested in me. And that gave me the motivation to give back.
Yeah.
Again, being in a leadership position allows you to do that. You tend to create an environment then for your team to grow.
Yeah.
You challenge them. You make sure that they utilize their skills effectively. And leadership allows you to do that.
Yeah. And what would you say your leadership style is, or the qualities that you would say make you a strong leader?
So my leadership has evolved over time based on experience, feedback, and also lessons from successes as well as mistakes. But today I would describe it as thoughtful, supportive, and accountable.
Okay, three very, I think, quite heavy-hitting, very important points that you're making there. So I think the accountability is a very interesting one. But if you could maybe elaborate on those particular points, why they're important for you.
Yes, so I do set high expectations. I do believe in giving the team the platform to showcase their capabilities and what they are capable of doing, to use their strength and to reach their full potential while being very clear on goals and expectations. So it's about really creating an environment where people are both supported and stretched, because that's where growth comes from.
Yeah, and almost empowering them, I guess, from what you're saying, to make those decisions and grow. And
absolutely.
I think where you've just alluded to actually, Nisrin, knowing what good looks like, but equally knowing what the not so good looks like, or just learning from mistakes throughout. Absolutely. As well. It's a much better personal development kind of opportunity, isn't it, than
absolutely
try
and
it.
Look, that's how we learn, and that's how we shape who we are. What I found in in my leadership style, which has evolved over the years, was that feedback is incredibly important. And I'm talking about constructive feedback here.
Yeah.
We learn by doing, we lead by doing, but we can learn by watching and observing how others do things and how you should not do certain things. So it's incredibly important to be open to learning about oneself as well as the team that you lead.
No, I couldn't agree more. In your kind of career to date, and maybe reflecting back on some of those points that you've made, Nisrin, what would you say are some of the key things that have allowed you to grow, or those traits that you feel have developed throughout?
I would say 3 things, and these are the 3 things that I always give as advice when I'm asked for one.
I've got a question next on advice I want you to give.
Okay.
So.
Right, let's focus on what got me here.
Yeah.
Again, my sense of curiosity, my ambitions. I'm generally speaking a very ambitious person. I'm driven.
I can tell.
But I do put a lot of my energy and passion into what I do. One, it would be a pity not to be passionate about what you do, because we spend most of our time working.
I agree.
And I find that when you are passionate, when you are putting the positive energy into what you do, that shows in the work, in the outcome of the work that you do, in the relationships that you establish around you. So for me, it's about passion, it's about a sense of curiosity, and it's about being stubborn, I think, to not let challenges set you back.
Yeah.
In the past 18, 19 years that I've been in banking, I've lost count of the crises that we have faced as an industry. And they could be taken as setbacks, or they could be taken as, it's a platform to learn and to improve. And I feel that I have learned a lot from crisis management. I've learned a lot from watching and observing people around me deal with or navigate the challenges that we're facing. So being open-minded all the time plays a key role as well.
I do agree, and yes, we have encountered quite a few that we've had to navigate, certainly in FS. Interesting point you just mentioned. It's easier for some than others to have that resilience or positive mental attitude almost to negative situations. So are there any examples or kind of pieces of advice that you would give around that for somebody to try and look at a negative circumstance and think more positively, or how it could have a positive outcome for them? That
comes into the territory of psychology almost. But today, if you face a challenging situation, it's very important that you take the emotions out of it for a certain period of time. Think about it as a case study, right? This is the challenge. These are my constraints. This is where I want to get to. How do I get there? Yeah. Try and break down the challenge. And then you can ask, okay, well, this is an interesting opportunity for me now to learn how to deal with a new situation and that I'm facing in my work. Today, in our day-to-day job, we face challenges, some small, some big. It's one way for you to deal with the challenges yourself as a leader, but it's also another to help those around you or your team to deal with challenges, because not everybody reacts to issues the same way.
I agree.
And then you ask yourself, when you notice, you observe, it's very important that as a leader, you need to be very mindful and be aware of how your team members are dealing with a certain situation. So you need to notice whether they are able to deal with the situation or not. Step in where needed, and explain to them that this is a shared responsibility. Help them get through it, help them navigate. For me, I try and ask questions. What do you think about this? How do you think we can get there? What do you think is the solution? So you work with them through the challenge, and then you can take the emotions out of it a little bit. And then when you, as a leader, you have a responsibility to show that it's a shared responsibility dealing with any challenge. At the end of the day, we operate in a corporate environment. We don't operate in silos, and teams are meant to work together. And today, more than ever before, we seem to be facing challenges more than before.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I have a saying internally, and most of my colleagues who will see this will probably roll their eyes and like nod and agree, but my motto is there's always a solution. You just have to work through what those steps are to get to the end goal.
Absolutely.
And if we could conclude maybe, and probably preempted my question, Nisrin, what advice would you give from your experience to younger females or younger talent coming through? Any words of wisdom from you?
Right. I may be repeating myself here, so please do bear with me, because I truly believe in these three things: curiosity, visibility, and proactivity. They are incredibly difficult. They're incredibly important. Do not wait for opportunities to come to you.
Yeah.
Go and seek them out. Do not let preconceptions define your choices. It's very easy to assume
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, we will not be able to do this job. We will not be offered this opportunity. Don't let that stop you. Push for it. Pursue your ambitions and your aspirations. And believe in yourself, because confidence does not come first. It comes from action. So to me, it's all about these elements together, underpinned by a sense of curiosity. And another thing, or maybe the final thing that I would say, do not underestimate the value of your voice, because it does have a place in this industry.
I think that's a really powerful message, and one that certainly resonates with me. Some of the things that I say to my team as well, so that makes me feel
Fantastic.
better. But Nisrin, thank you for sharing your
Thank you.
insights, your experiences. Really appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me today.
You're welcome.